Show me what you're willing to fail at, and I'll show you what you truly value. Because nobody becomes successful at something they're unwilling to be bad at. You've probably felt this before, wanting to start something important, but hesitating because you might fail, look foolish, or discover you're not as good as you hoped. And hidden underneath that hesitation is a question that might determine the direction of your entire life. What are you willing to fail at? Every success story has an invisible graveyard. People see the successful business, the athletic body, the happy relationship, the confident speaker. What they don't see is the failed attempts, the embarrassing moments, the rejection, the mistakes, the self-doubt. We only recognize what is presented to us. The only things that stand out as being great, being worthwhile. But behind the scenes, all that time, that effort, that dedication, that commitment, those failures, that is what often goes unseen. Every success story has a graveyard of failures underneath it. We're just rarely shown that part. Also, failure is the price of admission. Failure isn't evidence that you're on the wrong path. It's often the entrance fee. Learning to drive, learning a language, starting a business, dating, creating content. We can't expect ourselves to be perfect on day one. Yet many people secretly expect perfection from themselves without the repetition, without the practice. Also, people are often protecting their identities. People aren't afraid of failure itself. We can be afraid of what failure means to us or about us. Thoughts such as, what if I'm not smart? What if I'm not talented? What if people judge me? What if I look stupid? Failure threatens that ego. But avoiding failure also prevents growth. Being able to recognize we're protecting something that wants to keep us in the same place. Because growth requires discomfort, and failure is very uncomfortable, especially if it's in the public eye. Regarding freedom, instead of asking, what do I want to succeed at? Ask, what am I willing to fail at repeatedly? That will reveal what you genuinely care about. Am I willing to fail at creating videos? You'll probably care about creating. If you're willing to fail at improving your health, you probably value your health. If you are willing to fail at relationships, you definitely value connection. If you're willing to fail at starting a business, you probably value freedom. What you're willing to fail at often reveals your values. And the alternative is usually worse. Many people think they're choosing between failure and success, but often the reality is we're choosing between temporary failure or permanent regret. The pain of trying is often smaller than the pain of wondering the pain of what could be, what if I tried. That belief that you could have reached something, you could have made something, only if you would have committed to that time that we no longer have. Years later, people rarely regret taking that shot, starting the project, having the conversation. They never regret the beginning. Another truth is we're already failing at something. Everyone is failing at something. The question is where. A few examples are, if we fail at committing to exercise and nutrition, our health will suffer and decline. If we fail at budgeting, our finances will suffer, our stress will increase. If we fail at difficult conversations, our relationships will suffer. They won't grow, or we'll stay around those who are not aligned with our values. If we fail at pursuing our dreams, our purpose suffers, and regret will be inevitable. Therefore, failure is unavoidable. The only choice is where you're willing to experience it. Maybe the question isn't, what do you want from life? A better question could be, what are you willing to fail at in life? Because every meaningful pursuit comes with failure attached to it. The people who eventually succeed aren't the people who avoid failure. They're the people that decide that what they want is more important than looking competent along the way. So if you can take a moment and ask yourself, what dream, goal, relationship, skill, or calling have you been avoiding because you might fail? And if you knew failure was a part of the process, would you finally begin? Show me what you're willing to fail at, and I'll show you what you truly value. You have reached the end of this video. If something resonated with you, consider leaving a comment below and sharing what felt most impactful. To support the channel, you can like, subscribe, and/or share this video with someone who you feel might also benefit. Additional ways to support the channel can be found in the links in the description below. You will also find a link to my website, cravingfreedom.com, where you can access my ebooks. On the website, you can also find descriptions of what to expect from the ebooks. And if you feel ready to commit to your path towards freedom and are seeking in-depth guidance and support, consider applying for one-on-one coaching. Answers to frequently asked questions can also be found on the website. Thank you for your time.